What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Alex Pereira sends a message to Magomed Ankalaev. Magomed Ankalaev ended Alex Pereira's reign as the UFC's light heavyweight champ, as a lot of people predicted he would do. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. But despite the fact that Ankalaev defeated Pereira, Poatan says he's faced tough opposition. For the months prior to Pereira and Ankalaev fighting this past March, plenty of fans and fighters opined that the Dagestani fighter style would be Poatan's kryptonite, the argument being that Pereira had yet to face someone who had a comparable, well-rounded game like Ankalaev. Well, at UFC 313, Ankalaev did proceed to take the light heavyweight crown from Pereira via a unanimous decision win. But while speaking to the Schmo recently, Pereira dismissed the idea that Ankalaev was his toughest opponent to date. "I've definitely fought tougher opponents," Pereira said through his translator, Plinio Cruz. The situation itself on that day, UFC 13, the circumstances, made him a hard opponent, but I've definitely fought people way harder than him. Pereira's comments here shouldn't come as big of a surprise. After all, it's not like he was beaten down by Ankalaev for 5 rounds or taken out via knockout. The fight was pretty competitive, and while Ankalaev controlled a lot of the action late via his clinch game, he did not inflict much damage. As this video is being produced, there's still no word on if and when Ankalaev and Pereira are going to fight again. But since Pereira defended the light heavyweight title 3 times, a rematch is expected, even though there's been speculation that the UFC and Pereira have squabbled over when the fight should happen. But in the same interview, Pereira also reported the following: "We're in talks with the UFC. We're gearing up, let's see, maybe something around October." On account of a video clip that recently made the rounds, which showed Poatan weighing in at over 240 pounds, some have speculated if he could be preparing for a move to heavyweight. But while talking to MMA Fighting recently, the Brazilian star also made it clear he's targeting a rematch with Ankalaev. "My focus right now is fighting Ankalaev, get my belt back, and then we see what happens after. Let those guys each other in that weight class. Right now, I'm just focusing on light heavyweight." Do you see Pereira defeating Ankalaev and reclaiming the light heavyweight title? Dana White says Jon Jones never ducked Tom Aspinall. The way a lot of people are seeing it, Jon Jones has ducked the long discussed showdown with Tom Aspinall by hanging up the gloves. But even though Bones had apparently agreed to the terms offered by the UFC to fight Aspinall before ultimately retiring, Dana White still doesn't believe that Jones ducked the rising star. As you surely know by now, on Saturday, White announced that Jones has informed the UFC he is in fact retiring. And since then, the polarizing fighters also confirmed he's done fighting. As a result, Aspinall is now the undisputed heavyweight champion. If you followed all the drama regarding Aspinall and Jones over the past year or so, you know that Bones said it would cost the UFC big time in order to make the fight a reality. But while talking to Oscar Willis from the Mac Life, White claimed that the bout was actually a done deal before Jones went to Thailand for a coaching gig on a Russian reality show.
I wouldn't say that Thailand was the end of it. You know, we were talking about it before that. But yeah, the fight was done. We had the fight done a long time ago. So why he decided not to fight, you guys will have to ask him that. Listen, he was offered what he deserves for that fight.
So if money wasn't the sticking point for Jones, what was? Was it the fact that Aspinall is widely considered to be one of the most dangerous people right now in the world? White proceeded to insist that Jones did not duck the English fighter. No, he's not ducking Tom Aspinall. Jon Jones, I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again, he's never ducked anybody other than that one goofy time with the Chael Sonnen thing at UFC 151. He's never ducked anybody, and I think the reality of it is, whatever changed his mind with this fight, you'd have to ask him that. He's 38 years old, and I don't know. Another theory that's making the rounds regarding the timing of Jones's retirement is that maybe he's decided to hang up the gloves due to his latest run-in with the law. Over the weekend, it was reported that Jones was recently charged for allegedly leaving the scene of an accident, which occurred in New Mexico this past February. While discussing all of that with Willis, White said this: "I saw Jones's legal news on Sunday. When I saw it today, I thought, everyone is going to think that's why he retired. Maybe that is why he retired. Who the hell knows, man? I don't know. These are all the questions you have to ask him. We had the fight done. You saw me talking about it very confidently, that this fight was going to happen, and then he changed his mind. We may never really know the real reason Jones decided to retire when he did. But now that the heavyweight division is finally ready to move on, Tom Aspinall excitedly acknowledged while reacting to the news."
Right everyone, the news has broken. I'm sure everybody's seen it. UFC undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Moving forward, very important to me, just that I acknowledge everybody quickly who has supported me in this, I'm not going to say it was a tough time, but a bit of a challenging time over like the last kind of 10-11 months that I have been inactive due to no fault of my own. But luckily, that is all behind us now. Massively appreciate the support from everybody. Massively appreciate the support going forward. I am going to keep this thing as active as possible. I want to be the best heavyweight ever to walk the face of the earth.
Who do you want to see Aspinall fight in his first bout as the undisputed heavyweight champion? Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane next? It looks like we're getting Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane for the heavyweight title. Yesterday, the UFC revealed that Nasruddin Imavov will fight Caio Borralho in the main event for UFC Paris. Now that this fight is confirmed, this was rumored to be Ciryl Gane's main event since he's from France. So now, this essentially confirms that they're going to make Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane sometime in October. Are you excited to see Aspinall versus Gane? Let us know in the comments below. Khabib reacts to Jon Jones' retirement. Over the weekend, massive news, probably the biggest in the year, dropped as Jon Jones had officially announced his retirement from MMA. Today, Khabib reacted to the news of Jon Jones' retirement by writing the following on his Instagram story. "My congratulations, legend. Even we was not friends, but you are the best who ever do it in UFC history, and you inspire millions of people around the world. You have nothing more to prove in this sport." Ilia Topuria wants Paddy Pimblett after Charles Oliveira. Several key pieces have to fall into place before a fight between Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett becomes a reality. But as Topuria approaches his fight with Charles Oliveira at UFC 317, he continues to call for a bout with his rival. Topuria and Pimblett have been feuding through social media and via interviews for a couple of years now. But for a while, the prospect of them fighting anytime soon didn't seem realistic. After all, Topuria was busy bombing his way up the featherweight rankings and then ruling at 145, while Pimblett was working his way up the lightweight ranking. But fast forward to today, and Topuria is about to fight for the vacated lightweight title. And Pimblett is eyeing to be in the title shot mix at 155. So compared to even a year ago, the chances of Topuria and Pimblett throwing hands in the octagon have risen considerably. This is why in a recent interview ahead of UFC 317, Topuria said this when asked who he wants to fight after facing Charles Oliveira. Who's next after Charles? I don't know. Hopefully Paddy. Hopefully he gets one more fight, he wins that fight of course, and finally we can be in the same octagon together. It's just a matter of time. I think that it's gonna happen. You ask me, it's going to happen. Now, as noted, a couple of things need to happen before this fight can become a reality. Obviously, Topuria needs to get past Oliveira and Pimblett needs to record at least one more pivotal win in order to lock up a title shot. Of course, if both men were to lose their next fights, then the UFC could elect to book the grudge match as well, but it wouldn't have nearly the same buzz compared to if it was a title fight. But what do you think? Do you see Topuria and Pimblett fighting with the lightweight title on the line in the near future? Khalil Rountree reveals sad news on health. After winning at UFC Baku, Rountree revealed some news on his health heading into the fight with Jamal Hill. During a YouTube video for his channel, Rountree revealed that he entered the fight with a torn meniscus that happened 3 weeks before this fight with Hill. He also revealed that he wasn't able to spar for 3 weeks leading up to the fight. UFC updates. Let's take a look at some UFC and fight updates. Recently, it was reported that the UFC's upcoming August 23rd card in Shanghai, China has picked up a flyweight fight between Sumudaerji and Kevin Borjas. Sumudaerji is coming off a split decision win over Mitch Raposo in April after dropping a unanimous decision loss to Charles Johnson last October. Borjas, meanwhile, recorded a unanimous decision win over Ronaldo Rodriguez in March to snap a 2-fight losing skid. And Oban Elliott had a tough night at UFC Baku as the Welsh fighter lost via unanimous decision to Silk Young Ko. Following the loss, which ended his 8-fight winning streak, Elliott released the following video statement.
Oh my God. I got whooped tonight. I was so ready. I couldn't have been more prepared, but I was beaten by the better guy. I did my best, but I got my whooped tonight, and it hurts. But I'll take it like a man, 100%.
It'll be interesting to see how Elliott looks in his next outing and whether he could put together another run. And speaking of UFC Baku, one of the card's biggest highlights was the jaw-dropping fight between Nazim Sadykhov and Nicholas Mota. Sadykhov ended up winning the thrilling bout via a second-round stoppage, but both he and Mota picked up an extra 100 G's in Fight Night bonuses. Here was Sadykhov's reaction to the news.
The UFC just called my phone.
Seriously?
You had a 100K bonus.
Yes! Open the door, open the door. Police. Yo, I just hit 100K. No way. I just hit 100K.
Congratulations to both Mota and Sadikov for making an extra 100K. Dana White breaks silence on Noche UFC timing issues with Canelo versus Crawford. When it was confirmed that Dana White is going to promote the super fight between boxing stars Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford on September 13th, it wasn't long before questions about his priorities started being raised. After all, the UFC is also holding a card in San Antonio, Texas that same day. But recently, the UFC CEO and now boxing promoter confirmed that the UFC main card is going to take place after Alvarez versus Crawford wraps up. At a recent event to promote the fight, which is being streamed on Netflix, White said this.
You put on 2 fights. If you can get people to stay home on a Saturday night, you put on 2 great fights the same night. We have UFC Noche that night, and I know there's a lot of questions about this. The main events the main cards will not cross over. You'll be able to watch one right into the other. So to be a part of a historic night on Mexican Independence Day, yeah, I love it. I feel very blessed to be here.
One would think that White will not be in San Antonio for the UFC card on account of the fact that Alvarez-Crawford fight is projected to be one of the biggest boxing matches in recent memory. That fight is expected to take place in Vegas. The UFC Noche card, meanwhile, is not even a pay-per-view event. And based on what transpired at the presser, it looks like tensions are already running high between the decorated pugilists. Do you plan to watch both events on September 13th? MMA community reacts to Aaron Pico body transformation. There's considerable buzz throughout the hardcore MMA community about Aaron Pico's upcoming Octagon debut, but due to a recent picture that's making the rounds of the former Uber prospect, talk about Pico has spiked even more. Recently, Pico posted the following pic, which shows the featherweight is ridiculously shredded ahead of his July 26 fight with Movsar Evloev. That image prompted some fans to accuse Pico of using PEDs. Here were some of the reactions. Aaron Picograms, the new Michael Chandler. Does he just have a factory in his house? Obvious use. Michael Chandler looks exactly like this just weeks before he gets his whooped. Roided to the gills, where's USADA when we need them? I'm skeptical of anyone who trains at the training lab after TJ. This is what I mean when I say combat sports fighters are on gear and they believe their favorite athlete is clean. Being in decent shape and winning his UFC debut are two different things. We'll have to see if the latter can be achieved first. Otherwise, his looks are irrelevant. What do you make of how Pico looks? And do you believe that he could hand Evloev his first loss? Jon Jones breaks silence on charges. We reported yesterday that the Albuquerque police had charged Jon Jones with a hit and run, and today we have a statement from his lawyer regarding the incident. His lawyer, Christopher Dodd, is claiming that Jon was never in the car and that the woman accusing him of fleeing the scene is lying that he was there to cover herself from a DWI. He wrote, "As Jon's lawyer, I am stunned by the Albuquerque Police Department's decision to charge him in this new case. In the thousands of cases I've handled in my career, I've never seen a case as strange and unwarranted as this one. Jon was not driving that night. He wasn't in the car. It appears that an intoxicated woman used a false allegation against Jon to avoid being arrested for DWI, and the police fell for it. Based on the criminal complaint, it looks like they went so far as to seek a warrant for Jon's cell phone records while conducting a misdemeanor traffic investigation. I've never heard of such a thing. It's truly unbelievable that the police would waste this amount of resources on such a case. The only thing I can think of is that the police were targeting Jon for improper purposes. We will get to the bottom of it and make sure that this baseless case is dismissed." Do you think that Jon is innocent, or is history repeating itself into Jon's retirement from the UFC? Let us know your thoughts below. We have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day.